Well, happy Sunday. I know that it's probably not Sunday when you're watching this video, but for me, it is the day after my weigh-in for week number 75, shot 68 of Zepbound. And I should be coming up with some magical idea that's going to get people on YouTube to watch my video by the thousands. But I cannot stop thinking about my journey on my weight loss journey because I feel like I've really hit a wall. And I know that I have been uh, very vocal lately about my disappointment in my weight loss because I have really been struggling. I feel like I'm doing reset after reset, trying this and that, upping my calories, lowering my calories, getting more exercise. And I really I'm at this point where I don't know what to do because I'm going into full on panic mode. Because when I look back at the numbers are really what doesn't lie. And I've only lost 11 pounds in 2026. And I'm seeing other people who started at the same time as I did, who were on a very similar path and had pretty much kept up pound for pound with me, are passing me by. And I don't know, am I failing myself or is the Zepbound failing me? So I have to somehow figure this out. But I feel like sometimes I'm just banging my head against a wall because I feel like the medicine should actually be doing its job. Now, when you do look it up, it does say that I should be losing between half a pound to a pound and a half, 2 pounds per week. And for 2026, I am down to half a pound per week. Overall, it's a 0.83 pound per week weight loss, which seems fantastic. But when you take it into perspective, that I started this journey at 304 pounds and I still have 118 pounds left to lose. If I multiply that by, it's going to take me 2 weeks per pound, and then divide that by 52, it came out to 4.54 years that it's going to take me to get to my goal weight. And so I sort of pretty much had a crash out about this yesterday because I just can't. I can't. I have things to do in life. I have things that I want to do, and I really just need to get this weight off of me. I feel that I'm not asking for much out of life. Like what I just want to lose weight at a normal rate. And I just feel that I'm not getting anywhere and I'm spending $449 per month. And is it worth it to keep spending $449 per month if I'm only going to lose 2 pounds per month? Look, I know the medication has a lot of other good benefits, but the further away that you get from experiencing the symptoms that you had prior to the medication, the harder it is to see the benefits that you're getting out of it. So I know that I have to be really careful with my next move and make sure that I'm not unintentionally harming myself or just putting myself right back in a position to gain back the 62 pounds that I've lost. Now, I got on the scale yesterday and I was incredibly disappointed because my weight had been steady since I got back from vacation. Like every single day, the scale was saying the same weight over and over and over again. And for a lot of us, that is a victory in itself. But on Wednesday, which is usually always my lowest weight day, it did say that I was at 240 pounds, which would have been a 2 pound loss for the week. And then on Thursday, it said 240 pounds, and I was absolutely over the moon. That's why on my live stream, I mentioned that maybe the scale was working for me and that I was going to have a good weigh-in result. But then, wouldn't you know it, on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, I weighed in all 3 days at 242 pounds. So I was not shocked, but incredibly disappointed. But I got to figure out, like, what do I got to do? Because when I look at the fact that I've lost 62 pounds versus the 304 pounds that I started, that comes out to exactly 20% weight loss, which is right in line with what they predict or what they predicted when they ran the trials of Zepbound. Now remember, like, the Zepbound trials did not continue forever, so we got to a point where they reported like kind of the max weight loss, and that's because they stopped the trials. They didn't continue following people after the trial ended and they needed no more data. So it shouldn't be an indicator of, oh, I'm only going to get to 20% loss and then I'm going to stop. But I think the challenge really is our body's biology, and that some of us really get to a point that we stop responding. So I know Reset with Anissa. Anissa really struggles with this too. Honestly, she put out the video that I wanted to put out right before I decided to sit down and start thinking about my video, because she, again, has been stuck for several months at a particular weight. I mean, luckily for her, it is 160 pounds. It is not 242 pounds. So she is much, much closer to her goal weight. But the frustration is the same, because with her, like me, no matter what she's been doing, it has not been affecting her weight loss. So she's definitely looking at a reset to see what she can do to maybe lose a few more pounds to get to her goal weight. I think she's only 10 pounds away. And I kind of have to do the same. Like, am I failing myself? Like, what am I doing wrong? So I would say that since I've come back from vacation, which is, I think, been 3 weeks now, I have not been tracking my food. But that is not a failure, because there are thousands, and people, please hear me, there are thousands of people that lose weight all of the time without tracking every single calorie. And just because I'm not tracking every single calorie does not mean that I'm not eating within a calorie deficit. I will say that maybe I have indulged in a few too many small things that then add up over time. And that's where it really gets you, is where you go in the kitchen for a snack and next thing you know, you've got 400 calories in your hand. And that is a lot of calories when I only am supposed to be eating about 1,300 to 1,400 calories per day. I think one of the biggest things that I need to improve, though, is my movement. And that honestly is really the hardest for me. And it doesn't just have to do with, oh, I'm overweight and it's much harder to move my body, or I don't have time in the day and it's harder to take the time to do it. A lot of it for me stems from my ADHD. And please hear me that this is not an excuse. It really is a valid medical condition, because I get so focused on my work that it is really hard for me to break away to even use the bathroom, to even eat. Lately, I've been making this really bad habit of not eating lunch until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that is coming off eating dinner the prior night about 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I'm not eating breakfast in between. I just get so focused on what I'm doing that I mentally can't stop. I can't stop myself. So it's a bit of an executive dysfunction. So I have this past week started to implement like a 10-minute rule. So if I get up to go to the bathroom, then I'm going to be trying to do aerobics in my apartment for 10 minutes. Now, it's not every time. I'm trying to aim for at least 2 times per day, but minimum one per day. Now, out of 7 days, I did miss one day, but then the next day I made up for it by doing it twice. So my overall goal is to try not to wait till the end of the day and do this one massive workout or activity. I'm really trying to spread it out through the day. I did see a really good video from a doctor. I don't know that if I can find it. If I can, I'll provide a link for it. But he talked about walking and the benefits of getting movement in and trying not to save it all for the end of the day, that you actually do better if you break it up and get a good amount of movement and raise your heart rate several times a day versus just waiting for one really long walk at the end of the day. So I'm really going to make a huge concerted effort to do that, because I do have a non-scale victory goal of walking a 5K without sitting down. And that may seem like, oh, that's easy. That's only a little over 3 miles. Like, you just went on vacation and you walked like 40 miles in the 7 days. Yes. Yes, I did. But I didn't do it all at once. It's really hard for me, not only being over 100 pounds overweight, but with a back injury, it is hard to stay on my feet for long enough to make a 5K. So it's definitely something that I'm going to be working on. And I would really, really love to be able to work on walking to my local metro station. It is only a half mile away, but it is a couple 100 feet in elevation change between my apartment and the metro station, which seems crazy, right? It's not that much of a distance, but I just happen to live in a really unusual area where it is the edge of an old riverbank, and my little neighborhood is pretty darn hilly. So hills and I don't get along. So I really have to just stop and think with this whole like journey, and like, is this going to end up being a huge disappointment, which I'm really, really praying that it's not. But I have to figure out, like I said, am I failing me? Or is Zepbound failing me? And if Zepbound is failing me, well, I think I still have to continue to take it because of all the other benefits that I'm getting from it. Like, I can't just stop it because it's not effective for increasing my weight loss, but I have to work with it and figure out, like, can I make any influence on my weight loss? And I know so many of you out there are going to be saying, oh yeah, Amy, you can definitely like affect your weight loss. Like, you just need to eat right and eat low carb and eat keto and eat carnivore and do this and jumping jacks and jog around the block and all of these things. But the challenge is, with someone who has the disease of obesity, it is never that simple. We can say all of these things, we can do all of these things, and we may not get any results. Or sometimes we go backwards and actually gain weight if we're putting on muscle, but we're not burning off the fat. So that is just my struggle bus for the day. I just wanted to share that I'm really having a hard time, and I'm not okay with only losing 11 pounds this year. And somehow I have to figure this out. The sad thing is I don't know if there is an answer. So I'm obviously eagerly awaiting new medications that should hopefully be cleared by the end of next year and out on the market. I don't think any of the ones in the immediate pipeline that I've researched will actually be better than Zepbound, except retatrutide, which has its own challenges. I know I've heard that Eli Lilly is calling it retatrutide, so I don't really know the correct pronunciation, but I'm just not comfortable purchasing it from the gray market and trying it myself before it's actually FDA approved. I know that is an option, and there are a lot of people that do that, and I'm not putting any shade on any of the people that do choose to do that, or that is their only option. It is just not an option that I see for myself. So I'm really hoping I can get this sorted out because I want to keep losing weight. I want to keep providing amazing entertainment for those of you who are watching my channel, and I don't want to get stuck for months and months and months and months. I mean, at least I have been losing a little bit in 2026, 11 pounds. But I would say when I look back on May, I have not lost a single pound in May. Now, look, I know that I was away for 10 days on vacation, but that shouldn't really matter because when I came back, I hadn't lost any weight. Like, once I got to like an official weigh-in day, I gained 1 pound, but I also walked a lot, and I did eat more than I normally would, and I did eat higher calorie things than I normally would, but the medication really does its job and keeps my appetite in check. So I didn't indulge for the sake of indulging, if you know what I mean. I didn't kind of go to the buffet at midnight just because the buffet was there. I did find myself sometimes ordering food or putting food on my plate that I just couldn't end up eating once I actually sat down and tried to eat it. So Zepbound is doing its job. I just need to try and do my part. So thank you so much for hanging out with me while Amy has only a little bit of a meltdown today. And really, this journey is such an emotional thing for me. And I'm sure that a lot of you all are having the same feels. And I know that, look, I did a video kind of similar to this not that long ago, but it just, at this point, like, it's just not going away and I'm not finding a solution. I think really the only thing that I can do is just really be mindful of the food that I'm intaking and really try and get my exercise in. And I've got to some way figure out a way to make it a part of my day and to make it a habit without disrupting my work life, because that's really what it comes down to. I get so stagnant throughout the day by sitting for 9 to 10 hours in one spot and just never moving. And that is a really bad habit that I need to get out of doing. So thank you all for stopping by, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you who watches my channel or just watches a random video. Leave a comment below. I want to hear about your struggles on the weight loss medications. Also, too, like, do you think it's worth it to continue a medication that I'm paying almost $500 per month out of pocket for if I'm not seeing the results that I should be seeing? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Thanks again. Have a fabulous day, and I hope to see you on my Thursday live at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Usually every Thursday, talk for about an hour about a weight loss subject. Great community, so make sure you pop on over there and check out my live stream. I hope to see you in another video very soon. Have a fabulous day.
1 scale and a suitcase to pack. Zepbound in hand, there's no looking back. Cruising through this journey, non-scale victories divine. But can Amy lose the weight without losing her mind?